Welcome to Job chapter 41. It begins, the dragon. Now, to me, it's very amazing in that chapter 40, it was all about the wild beast. And here, 41, it's the dragon. And again, I hate to keep pushing the point, but this is a book that was probably written way before, 400 years or so before Genesis. And it mentions things that are brought out in the book of Revelation, along with other places, of course, in the Old Testament. But these two are so apparent in the book of Revelation, and when you want information about them in the Old Testament, outside of Job, it's on the bleaker side to find anything about them. But now, outside of the dragon, in Revelation, it mentions that Isaiah, he says, in that day, God will bring on the holy and the great and the strong sword against the dragon, the fleeing serpent. Again, the fleeing serpent, and he ties it into a dragon against the dragon, the one in the sea. Now, we know that this ties in with the wild beast, was one from the sea. Now the dragon being one from the sea. Is that the same as the one in Job? Yes, but then Ezekiel 29:3, it says, "Speak and say," Ezekiel says, "Thus says Adonai the Lord, Behold, I am against you, O Pharaoh, king of Egypt, the great dragon lying in wait in the midst of his rivers." Now, that's the only place other than the book of Revelation that talks about a dragon, a great dragon, relating it to Pharaoh. Now, does the dragon relate to Pharaoh in the book of Revelation? That's a stretch. I don't see that. But let's go into the book of Revelation and see what it actually says. In Revelation chapter 12, 3-17, "And appeared another sign in the heaven, and behold, a great fiery dragon, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his heads were 7 diadems, like crowns. And his tail drags the third of the stars of the heaven, and did cast them to the earth." Now he has a tail. "And the dragon stands before the woman about to give birth." Now, does he have legs? Yes. "That whenever she should give birth, he should devour her male child," which possibly would be Jesus. "And she bore a male son who is about to tend all the nations with a rod of iron. And her child was snatched away to God, and to his throne, which Jesus was. And the woman fled into the wilderness, where she has a place being prepared by God, that she should be nourished 1,260 days. And there was war in the heaven, Michael and his angels to war with the dragon." So the dragon has an army. "And the dragon waged war with his angels, and he prevailed not, nor was a place found for him any longer in heaven. And the great dragon was cast out, the ancient serpent, being called the devil and Satan, the one misleading the entire inhabitable world, was cast into the earth, and his angels were cast with him. And I heard a great voice in the heavens saying, Now is come the deliverance, and the power and the kingdom of our God, and the authority of his Christ." So this is not still in the future. "For the accuser of our brothers was cast down, the ones accusing them before our God day and night. And they overcame him through the blood of the Lamb and through the word of their testimony, and they loved not their life until death. Because of this, be glad, O heavens, and O ones encamping in them. And woe to the earth and to the sea, for the devil has come down to you, having great rage, knowing that he has a short time. And when the dragon saw that he was cast to the earth, he pursued the woman who gave birth to the male. And were given to the woman 2 wings of the great eagle, that she should fly into the wilderness to her place, where she should be nourished there a time and times and half a time from the face of the serpent. And the serpent, which was the dragon, shot from out of his mouth water as a river after the woman, that he should make her river born. And the earth helped the woman, and the earth opened her mouth and swallowed down the river which the dragon shot from out of his mouth. And the dragon was provoked to anger against the woman, and went forth to make war with the rest of her seed, the ones giving heed to the, and it goes on. Now in Revelations 13:4, it says, and they did obeisance to the dragon, giving authority to the wild beast, so bowing down to the dragon. And then 13:11 of Revelation, and I saw another wild beast ascending from out of the earth, and he had 2 horns like unto a lamb, and spoke as a dragon, which he gets his power from. And then in 16:13 of Revelation, and I saw from out of the mouth of the dragon, and from out of the mouth of the wild beast, and from out of the mouth of the false prophet, 3 unclean spirits as frogs. So the wild beast and the dragon are tied together so many places, and here in Job. And then in Revelation 22 it says, and he seized the dragon, the ancient serpent, who is the devil and Satan, the one misleading the entire inhabitable world, and bound him 1,000 years. Now we'll go to the text of the dragon in Job 41. It begins in verse 1, and will you lead a dragon by a hook? And will you put a halter around his nose? Now, some people would think that because it was tied to Pharaoh, it could be a crocodile. Or will you tie a hook in his, I changed that to nostril, because other places it's nostril. And will you make a hole in his lip for a clasp? And will he speak to you earnest supplications softly? So now I don't see where it's a crocodile at all, because it's speaking to people. And will he establish a covenant with you? Well, in a way he will, an evil satanic covenant. And will you take him for an everlasting bondman? Can people be able to control the dragon? I certainly can't. I don't know of anybody that can. And will you play with him as a bird? Or will you bind him as a sparrow for a child? So apparently they took these little birds and put a little twine around them, and kids could play with them. When I was younger, they did that with chameleons and sold them for animals. And do nations feed in him? And do the nations of the Phoenicians partition him? Now, could the dragon be a country of some sort? And everything afloat coming together in no way should bear the hide of his one tail. Now remember, he had a tail which swept the angels to earth. Nor in the boats of fishermen shall they bear his head. But shall you place a hand on him, remembering war taking place in his body? Now exactly what it's referring to there, I'm not sure, but it says, and let it no longer take place. Have you not seen him, nor wondered over the ones speaking about him? Are you not in awe that it has been prepared by me? For who is the one opposing me, or who shall oppose me? So apparently God made the dragon. Or who shall oppose me? I took no comma here. And remain, since all under heaven is mine. I will not keep silent because of him, and the word of power shall show mercy equal to him. And the word was, of course, Christ. And he shows mercy equal to the evils of Satan. Who will uncover the front of his clothing? Now, the crocodile wouldn't have clothing. And into the fold of his chest plate, who can enter? Who will open the gates of his face, or the front of him? Round about his teeth is phobos, fear. His insides are as shields of brass, and his sinews are as emery stone. One unto the one cleaves, and the wind in no way should go through it. As a man to his brother, they shall be cleaved. They are held together, and in no way should they draw apart the scales. In his sneezing, brightness shines forth. And that couldn't be a crocodile. And his eyes are as the appearance of Eosphoros, the light bringer. From out of his mouth burning lamps shall go forth, and scattered grates of fire. So this being is quite different than anything we read about. From out of his nostrils, and that's why I changed the first one, because there it is, nostrils here, come forth smoke of a furnace, burning with coals of fire. His soul is as live coals, and a flame goes forth from out of his mouth. We hear the fiery dragon, and mythologies, sort of many countries have taken this fiery dragon. Puff the Magic Dragon, a song in the 60s. The Welsh people have a dragon for their logo on the flag. And in his neck lodges dynamis, dynamite, power. Destruction runs before him. So here it's evil, destroying, and this is what is going to happen when he comes to the earth. And the flesh of his body cleaves. If one pours down upon him, he will not be shaken. His heart is fixed as stone, and he stands as an anvil, not malleable. Can't bend him at all, strong. And his turning gives fear to the four-footed wild beasts leaping upon the earth. If lances should meet up with him, nothing in any way should terrify by spear and chestplate, for he esteems iron as straw and brass as rotten wood. In no way shall the bow of brass pierce him, and he esteems a slinger, a rock slinger, as grass. Nothing. Hammers are considered as stubble. He ridicules the quaking of the fire bearer. His strewn bed is of sharp points, like you see that with these people in India walking on these nails sticking up. Here, the idea of his bed. And all the gold of the sea under him is as untold mud. Now, the abyss is where it mentions in Revelation where he's from. The abyss breaks out as a brazen cauldron, and he esteems the sea as an ointment jar. And the brazen cauldron goes along with the abyss being thrown into the lake of fire. So he esteems the sea as an ointment jar, and the infernal region of the abyss is as if a captive. He controls the abyss where people will be cast. He considers the abyss for a promenade, someplace to walk. There is not anything upon the earth like unto him, being made, to be mocked at by my angels. Warning from God that there's nothing like this dragon who will come to this earth, torment people. Every lofty thing he sees, and he is king of all the things in the waters. No way to get away from the dragon. Now we end up the last chapter of Job 42, where God speaks and talks about Job and everything that happened previously in the book. Hope you'll join us in the last chapter, chapter 42. Until then, God bless.